And I just want you to enjoy your time tonight. We'll have some great performances by our famous talents from Sacramento area. We'll have some great food. Riverview is awesome. And please check out silent auction tables. We had great people in our community who donated some gift certificates to restaurants and some items. So I really truly appreciate also their generosity, because it tells me so much that they do care, that with compassion in their heart to help those people so far away. So just please enjoy your time. We'll show you kind of glance on those slideshows, okay? And I know we're available if you want to grab your raffle tickets. We also have some really amazing trips, 3 trips. One is to San Francisco Bay to experience, I think it's a group of 10 people, sailing boat adventure, like 3 hour. You're gonna be in a group of only 10 people. Sailing, I would love to do that. I think I have to wait until our kids get a little bit older. But please check it out. I think it's really a really awesome offer from Windspire. It's a company that offers only, they work only with non-profit organizations to help them with whatever costs to raise money. So they've got really amazing trips actually all over the world. Italy, Rome, Japan, Australia. I was looking, just prices were kind of there. So the other one, if you really love wine tasting, check out Sonora Trip. It kind of offers a lot of little things in the package. So that one is really attractive. And there's another one, I'm just trying to find. Yes, and I think ladies, you ladies know a lot of me, because we were like thinking with my friend Gail, which third one to put on an auction table. She said, ooh, this one has $1,000 shopping spree with personal stylist, beauty consultation, champagne, and it's a Bloomingdale, San Francisco shopping spree. So it's a 2-night stay for 2. Sounds really good. So check this out, because that's a short distance. You can just get in the car and stay for a weekend. So thank you.
So that means I'm glad that you're here. I don't speak very much Ukrainian, although I've lived in Ukraine for 13 years. I'm there now only 5 or 6 months a year, but I have property, I have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a huge family of people who I love. And I have on the top of my resume Canadian passport, American green card, and Ukrainian soul. So my main job tonight, besides praying, is not crying, because I love Ukraine. I don't know why. You know why. It's a beautiful land. The people are amazing, mystical, magical, wonderful people. And underneath any veneer that we all have in our cultures, and there was a veneer I had to get through in Ukraine, it was a serious face. But underneath this lives the biggest heart I've ever experienced. And so Ukraine is truly a rich, rich land. And I'm not going to take really much time to tell you about us, why I'm there, but there's a little blue flyer over there, and if you're interested to know what a Canadian American would do in Ukraine for 13 years, you can read all about it. But I can tell you one thing, I went there thinking that I could help, that I could bring a consciousness of love and peace to this country. Because of the history of Ukraine, if you know it, it's been a very conflicted country. And in the first 6 months that I was there, my interpreter, who I lived with, got mad at me one day when I was saying, please give me a little space so that I can pray and meditate. He said, oh, let me guess. Your particular brand of spirituality needs a special place, a special chair, maybe a candle, maybe some special music. Oops. And he said, if you can learn to pray and meditate in this home, you can pray and meditate anywhere. And he was right, because the cats were having kittens, the dogs were having puppies, the mother was making moonshine in the bathroom, the door slammed all day long, the television was on constantly, and I would get so irritated, and he would say to me, how lovely, you came here to teach us about peace and love. It would really be nice if you had some. That at a time like we're facing in Ukraine, it's hard to remember that, because it's about us and them. But underneath that us and them, there is one presence. You can call it love, you can call it God, you can call it the universe. I don't care what you call it, but there is a presence. And that presence is powerful, and it is everywhere, in everything, in every person, in every child, in every dog, in every bird, in every tree, in every situation. This power called love is there. This presence called God is there. And my job is to reveal it. And so I pray that I have the courage to reveal this thing called love and peace within me that is the source of my life. I believe that love and peace are the natural source of life. And it's my job to reveal it, so that we might live in this kingdom of heaven together, where we do not need artificial barriers to make us feel safe, where we feel safe because we are loved, and we are loving, and we are dobre, and we are kind. And I believe that is true. And so I claim for myself and for each one of you, beloved, beloved people, that this place inside of you exists. And if you don't know it, I know it's true. And so I'm going to know it for you. And if you know it with me, then know it bigger for people around you. Until we all remember that we are meant to live in peace and love, and not fight each other, and learn how to cooperate. We do not need to kill anybody. We do not need to be wrong or right anymore. We need to be one together with each other. So I accept this reality deeply. It is what has moved my life for 40 years. I'm 66. For 40 years, I have been pulled by this thing called peace. So I'm the perfect person. That's why none of those other pastors could come. Because I had to be here tonight. Because I love life. And I love you. And I love Ukraine. And I love the world. And I know that something magnificent is happening right now in the midst of this conflict that seems and is so terrible and so difficult. But something magnificent is happening. And it's life wanting to be revealed at a greater level of peace and harmony. harmony and love. So I give thanks for what I see to be true. I see it to be true all around. I see it to be true in here. I see it here and I see it there. And so I accept peace right now as a fact. Peace is breaking out. Peace is breaking out right now. It's just messy like any birth is. Love is being born right now. Right now. So I claim this for myself, for anyone here who wants more peace and love in our lives, and anybody else who wants to join us. This is my prayer, that love and peace live in me, and that I share it with you with no barrier. So I'm so grateful to be here tonight. And I'm grateful, and I know that everything that we have planned for you this evening is magnificent. Wait till you hear the music. Wait till you hear the voices, and you hear the bandolas play, and the people sing. It is marvelous. It is dobro. It is harasha. It is fabulous. It is très bon. It is everything. So thank you. Thank you for coming, and God bless us, each of us.
Amen.
God bless us, each of us. And so let it be. Let it be so, that we have peace in our heart. Thank you.
And then it starts expanding. Yes, at the end of March, God was giving me this idea, okay, this is enough, you've been crying so much, watching all this news, it's so sad, starting in December when the first 4 people were shot in Ukraine, in Kiev, I watch those faces, I can't sleep at night, I can't function as a mom, and it was dragging for like 3 months, and I was exhausted. I know I kind of exhausted my husband. He has so much patience, but he said, okay, this is enough. You can't watch news 24/7 live. At 3 o'clock I get up and you're in front of TV watching Maidan. It's enough. But my heart was so much with those people there. I would call my family and they're like, Alex, what is going on with you? You worry so much more than we do here. We live here. You're in America, California. I said, I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe because I was so far away that I felt so helpless that I couldn't be there on my down with those people, standing for their rights. And first of all, in the beginning, they were standing for their rights as citizens, and later on, they were joining those people who were standing on Maidan just because they believed, this is enough. This government had done so much wrong. The corruption was just beyond. And when I saw that unity, I was overwhelmed. I was so proud of people that they finally realized it's time to stand up. But again, those things don't happen without people dying. And that is the saddest part. I think that's why that reason was born in my heart when you read each story and, your heart tears apart. You want to help everybody, but sometimes you can do so little. But in March, I told myself, I will just try to do this little because he was calling me to do something. So that's why we're here tonight. It was just a little spark in my head, but that little spark was the best thing that ever happened because I learned so much. So those, 2 months of a lot of emotions, little sacrifices with family time, because to organize anything takes time. If you commit yourself and don't get a lot of help, you have to do it. So it doesn't matter if it's morning, evening, night, you just keep doing. And sometimes you feel like you want to give up. And I had just this one song by John Mayer, it's called Gravity. I loved it. It became my song because when I was feeling down, that song was bringing me up. I would just 1 o'clock at night sing for 20, 30 minutes, and like next day I wake up and I'm brand new. So God was just filling me with His love. Guess what was coming with His love? The courage. No. You're not giving up. You're my child. You're full of love. You're my light. Okay, so go in the world, spread that light, shine. So I was feeling that. I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I'm your light. Yes, I shine. Maybe some people don't don't feel I was that bright, but I felt that. It's like I'm his light, and it doesn't matter what was happening around me, who thought what of me. You know, those things became nothing. When you focus on his love, on his light, first of all, you don't even think about yourself, what your needs are. You're just so much focused on him. And this is more what we all need. Just to, I don't know, just to become so passionate about something you want to do in life. And he blesses. I mean, he just opens the doors and pours those blessings on you. And I was feeling this last few days like, no, this is like impossible. I can't believe it. Every time somebody would give me a gift certificate to a restaurant, I would, thank you, Lord. And I would tell those people, thank you, thank you. You know what I'm praying right now for? I'll say a prayer that your business will be blessed tenfold. Just because you gave. It doesn't matter how much, $20, $70, $80, it doesn't matter. Just because you chose to give. That's what counts, just to have that giving heart. And I know that God blesses all of us when we give. Even when we don't have a lot, but we still choose to give what we have.
I want to thank Alexandra Wood, for organizing this event. It was her vision and her strength and her organizational abilities that made this happen. Please give her a hand.
Give him a round of applause. I just did whatever I could.
So, as you heard, I was born here from in a Ukrainian immigrant family. Through childhood into adulthood, I would go to Ukrainian events and we would sing the Ukrainian national anthem. Now mind you, this Ukrainian national anthem was illegal and very dangerous to sing in Ukraine for many years. You know how it starts. It's probably, you've never heard of perhaps a start like this to a national anthem. It goes, Ukraine is not dead yet. Someday we will be free. Someday we will have our own land. Someday our enemies will fail. We will fight to that end. That's basically what it says. I mean, very unusual. It was written during a time when Ukraine was not free. And we were seeing it in these cultural events, you know, and I would say, yeah, someday. Well, someday happened. Ukraine became free. And now, a lot of us are worried that that freedom may pass away. What I'm going to do is kind of give you a very short historical lesson on Ukraine. So may I have, oh, you have the first slide. Oh, backwards.
Space bar. Okay, let's go next step. No.
Previous. Okay, this shows Ukraine in relationship to Europe. Ukraine is within the boundaries of the continent of Europe. People have been living in Ukraine for over 7,000 years. But you can also see that, if you can imagine India and Iran towards the east, many tribes and civilizations, cultures pass through Ukraine to get to their ultimate destination, if you would. So Ukraine has been occupied for many years, but the Slavic tribes, which Ukrainians are part of, came later and settled in this region. Let me show you the next slide, please. This is a map of Ukraine. It still shows Crimea as part of Ukraine. Ukraine can be roughly divided into east and west, even though there's really a central part of Ukraine, which, as I will be trying to explain to you, these boundaries were changing throughout history. As Ukrainians were conquered and their conquerors were conquered, these boundaries were changing, but roughly towards the west, you have a mountainous region. Towards the east, it's flatter. Ukraine is known as the breadbasket of Europe, a very fertile land, very desired by many countries. So, we'll make next slide, please. So, as I said, Ukraine has been settled for at least 7,000 years. From 900 to 1200, there was a very powerful state that was started by the Vikings. It was demolished by the Mongols. And eventually, Poland and Lithuania took over most of Ukraine. As a result of this taking over, the people were serfs. They were basically enslaved. And there was a revolt, and these revolters were led by the Cossacks. The Cossacks achieved a certain amount of independence for a couple of years, but it was hard for them to maintain this independence, so their leader requested Russian help. And this help resulted in Russia taking a major interest in controlling Ukraine. So that as a result, as Russia took over, Poland and Lithuania became weaker. Also, the Habsburg, Austro-Hungary, the Habsburg dynasty also took a portion of Ukraine, so that by 1667, these are the major actors in the history of Ukraine. So all of these portions of Ukraine were under the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and then more of it became part of Russia as Poland essentially fell and became part of Russia. And these were partitions. They were dividing the land amongst themselves. And this situation existed up to World War I, where all these empires essentially fell. Next slide, please. We had after World War I, there was a real struggle to achieve independence for Ukraine. There was a limited government. It was changing hands all the time. Also, there were people representing, there was the forces of the Reds, the Bolshevik armies, the communist armies, fighting with the whites, which were the Tsarist elements. And as you know from history, the Bolsheviks won, and they took over most of Ukraine. However, there was a part of Ukraine that Poland had. And this part of Poland, Ukraine, was in the far western part of Ukraine. Back. What did the Soviets, the communists, do to Ukraine? Well, they first eliminated all their enemies, anyone who didn't ascribe to their belief system. A lot of Ukrainians were farmers. As I said before, Ukraine is a very fertile land. Agriculture was the primary occupation of most people. They wanted a factory-like setting for farms, and they didn't want farmers to run their own, farms. So they instituted collectivization, which was just putting people on collective farms. They all have to work together. This resulted in tremendous uprooting of people. Farmers who were rich were exiled to Siberia or shot. And this event was not enough. The Soviet Union, under Joseph Stalin, instituted a man-made famine. That is, they went into homes and took food away from the people. Some of those families were my own parents. They barely survived. 10 million, it's estimated that 10 million people starved in 1 year, starved to death in 1 year. This was another way for the Soviets to really get their hands and control over Ukraine. Then there was even more purges when people were shot indiscriminately. As a result, there was a lot of vacant land. There were empty homes. Russians were settled in those homes, as well as other nationalities, so mostly Russians. So this is in eastern Ukraine. There's a large Russian presence, significantly from these events. They were brought there. Let's see. Now, World War II shows up. As you may recall, there was a pact between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. In this pact, Poland was divided, and the part of Ukraine that was part of Poland was given to Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union. So in a way, out of this event, Ukraine was united. But then you know that Hitler invaded the Soviet Union. He took over all of Ukraine, And so Ukraine became part of the Nazi Empire, which didn't last too long. So when they capitulated, the Soviet Union reaffirmed and, well, took over Ukraine again, and it held it, as you know, up to the 90s, 91. During this period of the post-war, we have a continued suppression of Ukrainian language and culture. There is a strong emphasis in making Ukrainians Russian, because it doesn't help the Soviet Union to have identifiable nationalities existing on their own, in their own countries. Even though there was a landmass that was called the Ukrainian SSR Republic, it was really run out of Moscow. So there was, as you know, well, maybe not in your lifetime, but certainly in mine, this is when Ukraine became independent. A lot of other republics within the Soviet Union became independent at the time. The Soviet Union fell apart. And the Ukrainian parliament, it was a newly elected parliament, declared the sovereignty of Ukraine from Russia or Soviet Union. And this was people voted for this, and overwhelmingly in a referendum. Now, what's happened since independence? We have the emergence of Vladimir Putin. We have the emergence of a strong Russian Federation state, one of which considers that the extinction or the non-existence of the Soviet Union as being the greatest tragedy of the 20th century. He wants Ukraine back. And it's very clear that, that there's been pressure placed on the Ukrainian government. Ukraine is dependent on Russian oil and gas. Unfortunately, there are political parties in Ukraine, many political parties, some of them which support, they're usually constituted by Russians, and then there are those that favor a more independent state from Russia. This is the tension that exists right now in Ukraine. We have a sizable Russian population. We have people who will maybe not be Russians, but they want to be considered to be Russians, and they want to be part of the Russian Federation. Let's see where we are. Okay, so now we get to kind of current events. What happened in 2013 is the Ukrainian government, which was run by a pro-Russian party, the Party of Regions, was in dire straits. They were in tremendous financial crisis. And it was because of, their corruption, their mismanagement. Russia was funneling money away from them based on, the prices of oil and gas. And so they turned to the European Union and draw closer ties. And the European Union was offering Ukraine a lot of money. But we know that there was some pressure, put on by the Russian Federation, and they had their own offer. So the president of Ukraine abrogated that promise, and hence why there was a demonstration on Maidan. And the Maidan is this independent square. It's a major square within the city of Kyiv, where people will gather to voice their opinions. So this started last year, and it actually started in November, and it became escalating. Finally, this is just some pictures from the Maidan. You saw some pictures too from the early this year. I think maybe the government was fed up with these demonstrators because the people were not quitting. There were permanent demonstrators. There were people living there on the square, supported by the local population. And this was, I guess, an embarrassment to the government. So they started to disrupt these demonstrations. They used violence, and they started killing people. So this, as you know, then we had the toppling of the government, the existing government, and fleeing of the president into the Russian Federation. Well, you can imagine that Vladimir Putin was not happy with the status of this event, that a parliament that was starting to favor a European inclination of the government was in charge, and he initiated his own actions, and one of those actions was the offensive in Crimea. You've seen this on TV, no doubt, that gangs or men dressed in full military gear, fully armed, started taking over government buildings, harassing people, and even attacking Ukrainian military facilities. It was just a travesty, and it happened so quickly after that, which means that all these events, all these happenings were orchestrated by Moscow. It could not have just happened like that. I mean, these men were well trained. They got money to support them. In fact, not surprisingly, after this takeover of Crimea, shortly after, well, actually almost at the same time, our men were taking over eastern Ukraine, the eastern fringe of Ukraine, which is the most Russian-leaning, I should say. And similarly, in fact, some of these same people that were in Crimea ended up in eastern Ukraine once Crimea had their referendum and allegedly voted to be part of Russia. So these are the things that are happening right now. I mean, they're attacking, they're trying to take over. And why we are here. And this is, our club, if you can just, let me just go over this. There is a humanitarian crisis going on. There are people who have been killed, there are children that are orphans, there are people who have been injured and required pretty extensive treatment. There are refugees, there are people who have fled and are fleeing from Crimea and eastern Ukraine. These people are suffering, and their plight is why you are really here today. Now, the next slide. Regarding our club, we were founded in 1981 as a social organization. People who had background in Ukraine, either were descendants or actually immigrants from Ukraine. We sponsor cultural activities, concerts. Some of the performers that you hear today are involved in our activities. We have dance groups. We have, as Alex also read, we do film presentations and the like. But most important this year, we noticed that there's a real crisis in Ukraine, and we can help with dealing with that crisis, because we have contacts in Ukraine that we are confident can find out the needy people and start helping them right away. To date, we have assigned or allocated $9,000, a lot of which has already been paid out to needy families, as well as to agencies that help sick and injured people as a result of this action in Ukraine. So, with that, I thank you for coming here. I thank you for your generosity. I thank you for putting up with my little history of Ukraine. I hope you learned something from that and can take it home. Ukraine has had a very hard history, and we really want Ukraine to exist for many more years. So with that, again, thank you for coming.
That was great. That's right. I think it's a Mr. Jack Reiser, who is the president of Red and Oil Company. He was very gracious and generous to support actually me in the beginning. He was the first one, actually, second one, doesn't matter, but for me it was like first one. He came to my house to bring the check that he wrote as a donation to support Ukrainian heritage movement in California. And guess what else he brought? Something for sale at auction. And I said, oh. He rang the doorbell and I said, seriously, you were like an angel at the door. You delivered the donation to my house? People like that seriously deserve like the deepest thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Send this blessing your way, Jack, and to your family and your darling wife. But he brought this American Eagle 1 ounce silver-proof coin. And we actually, what we're gonna do, Leroy and boys will walk around with a deck of cards. I guess they're gonna be what, wrapped in half? Okay, this is what's gonna, he gave me an idea. So, you can buy a half a card for $5 to have a chance to win this. Hold on, let me open it, sorry. This beautiful United States Mint. It's a yes, hold on. Yes, it's a 1 ounce silver-proof Eagle. Proof coin, 2012. I have to read all the details because he knows more about coins. He's collecting them, I don't. So thank you, Mr. Reiser. And if you guys would like to do that, boys are here. You have a chance to win this beautiful American Eagle for your collection. Okay. If anybody wants to get your chance to win that coin, lift your hand so boys will know where exactly they need to stop by. So if you have your hands up, Tarasik, can you guys please go with cards, or you have cards? All right, sounds good.
Yeah, look at that forest piano.
Was played in the old days by the Cossacks, which were the freedom fighters of Ukraine. And a lot of the songs that they sang were about either folk songs about love or about the wars going on in different parts of Ukraine. They were like the newspaper of the day, if you will. The ballad players, the bandurist or the kobzari as they call it. So we'll start off with the song called Взял моя banduru.
Good evening. Thank you, Alex. I wanted to say thank you to you first for putting all of this together. I think it's amazing and I'm having a great time. Thank you all of you for being here. I want to say, I had the great privilege to live in Ukraine for a couple of years. And I lived in Kiev. You saw on the map, Kiev is the capital city, so I lived there for a few months. And then I moved to the Russian-speaking side of Ukraine, which is in the east, and that city is called Donetsk. Maybe some of you have heard of it, in the news recently especially. But it's amazing how much your perspective changes when you've had the opportunity to live abroad for a couple of years. And over time, I not only developed a really great love and appreciation for Ukraine, but even my love and appreciation for America tended to grow out of that as well. I appreciated one country, but at the same time, I gained that perspective to see, you know, I really appreciate my own country, and it was really kind of an amazing experience. I met many different kinds of people in Ukraine, and kind of different reactions from different people. For example, my next door neighbor was an ex-KGB agent, and he thought that I was a spy. And some Ukrainian students who I met, I asked them, you know, what do you guys think I did before I came to Ukraine? And they said, oh, well, of course, you work for the CIA. And so those kinds of responses I got quite often. But I met people who said that they really wanted to come to visit America, some to Europe, and then I also met people who said that they really, they loved Ukraine and they never wanted to leave Ukraine. So many different kinds of people.
Not even think about that. Shall we ever be so strong? The perfect love is letting go so easy. Just like it, baby, it's all easy. And I feel like screaming 'cause of it's so unreal, but in a place we dream on. Where we all belong, deep inside, we surely know. But how long we can go on? What makes our soul is lasting on. Shall we ever feel so strong? That perfect love is letting go so easy. Just like in David more than anything. And I feel like screaming 'cause of blue, 'cause of it's so unreal, but in a place we dream on. Just a matter of time for your dreams to come true. You're gonna be good, everything is alright if I sing my song to you. If they say you are wrong, if they say you are right, you shouldn't give a damn. You're gonna be good, your time's gonna come, you just do what you do. I'll be there, I'll be where, I'll be here, I'll be anywhere you need me to give you all my life.